What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Between the Lines podcast. I'm your host, Mason, aka Mace Y, and today we're going to be talking about my song, Jesus Loves Me, Type Beat. Now, this one doesn't have any lyrics that aren't the song Jesus Loves Me, so I don't have really a lot of lyrics or meaning behind the lyrics other than the story about why Jesus Loves Me plays such a big part in my life. In the song, you'll hear a very little kid or two kids really singing Jesus Loves Me, and those two kids are me and my younger brother, one of my younger brothers, singing Jesus Loves Me. And my great grandma, who I call my mama, she used to sing that to us all the time. We would even go to the nursing home that her and my grandma, my nana, would go to the nursing home, and when they'd babysit us, they'd take us too, and we'd sing Jesus Loves Me to people at the nursing home. I don't know, it plays such an impactful part of my life. It is also just like the simple truths of Christianity and of Jesus' love for us, God's love for us. So I think that's obviously incredibly important, but for me specifically, and for this song and my life, yeah, I've grown up singing that song, and it always just tugs at my heartstrings. So that is the importance of that. Really, the only thing left to talk about is the beat behind the song. And if you listen to the double single, The Hands of Love, together, as in you listen to Lay Your Hands on Me and then the Jesus Loves Me type beat, you'll realize that they have a lot of the same sounds, and it's because this was supposed to be one long song, but I ended up extending both kinds of vibe of that song. So it was supposed to be a pretty long outro to an album I was working on, where the slower Lay Your Hands on Me part was the intro, and then the song would end with the bouncing up and down dance vibe of the Jesus Loves You type beat. But obviously I split those into two different songs, so that's why they have very similar sounds. Apart from that, really what I did was I added some bouncier drums, and I used this thing called Beat Breaker, which is part of Logic Pro's processing, I guess, it's an effect you can add. And I used it to mess with the vibe, or the production of the song, and make it skip around or be choppy, which just gave it a more fast-paced vibe that I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this song. It's a pretty simple song, all the same sounds really from Lay Your Hands on Me. I even used the video of my brother and I singing in Lay Your Hands on Me. It's the intro and the outro to that song, but then I just chop it up, which is really fun to do. I love chopping things up. I fell in love with, how Kanye would chop up soul samples, or John Bellion chopping up drums and stuff. And so to use a drum pad and to chop up, Jesus Loves Me, and make a dance track out of it is really, really fun. So yeah, that's the basis of the song. I grew up listening to or singing Jesus Loves Me with my grandparents, and I also kind of have recently fallen in love with dance music. I think it's really, really fun and cool. So I mixed the two things together and made this song. And, without further ado, here it is. This is Jesus Loves Me type beat.
Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Loves me. Loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Loves me. Loves me. Yes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Yes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Yes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Loves me. Loves me. Yes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Yes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Yes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Loves me. Loves me.
Thank you all for listening to the Between the Lines podcast. I'm your host, Mason, aka Mace Y. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Mace_Y_. And I will see you all next episode. Peace.